Pandit, Director of CURÁM and Professor of Biomedical Engineering at University of Galway. CURÁM aims to radically improve health outcomes for patients by developing smart medical devices and implants. You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, I think everybody said everything I have to say, so I don't know what extra thing I'm going to say today. And I'll make it brief. I know I have a lot of slides, but I think what's reflected today is more about CURÁM's role, and CURÁM's role is very external in nature. So we have a lot of stakeholders, tons of stakeholders, and I'll allude to that during the presentation. But more importantly, I think if I leave a message with you that the impact that CURÁM has made to date is, and I think if I leave that message at the national level, European level, at the regional level, the impact, and also more importantly at the College of Medicine level, because today is a day for College of Medicine, and that's what I'm going to try and bring out. What has, how has CURÁM been empowered by the presence of College of Medicine, and that's the message I want to give. I'm going to skip this slide because I think you've heard enough about this, about why Ireland is great, and for MedTech devices and all that stuff. We all know this now, so I will skip this slide. So if you look at the medical, and I'm just going to talk about a brief history of why CURÁM was formed. If you look at the medical device infrastructure, and I think Mark alluded to that a bit earlier on. I came to Ireland in 2000, and nothing to do with this, by the way, just I came to Ireland in 2002. But at that time, the universities were just ramping up buildings. PRTLI investment had just come in. SFI centers, CSETs, that's what they were called, and were just being invested in. And EU funding was just coming into Ireland. And the parallel Ireland as well, which Mark Brazzi alluded to, startups were just starting on CAD. When I came here, there were only 3 startups, Caradigm, Mednova, and Aerogen. The 3 of them were there. Stem cell manufacturing was just being set up. Frank Barry and Tim had just come in 2005, and they were thinking about doing that. Industry venture capital was all coming in at the same time. And it was the right time for CURÁM to form, as to sort of connect all those pieces together in an academic environment to bring all the stakeholders together at the same time. So if you look at the expertise that started off CURÁM, was mainly in 4 strategic research clusters. Remedy was a strategic research cluster at that time. So NFB was a biomaterials research cluster. IDDN was a drug delivery cluster, which was based in Dublin. AGRC was a glycoscience cluster, and Remedy was stem cell and gene therapy, which had its home in College of Medicine. In addition, complementary expertise of biomedical engineering was added into that space because that was missing in the medtechs in the whole equation, and that led to the formation of CURÁM. Now, there was a similar timeline I think Faisal talked about, but what I want to talk about is major major cluster investment that has happened in Galway, but it's also at a national level. It's not only Galway. We do represent the national elective. So if you look at Remedy 2003, NFP 2007, Remedy 2 2010, BioInnovate 2011, CURÁM 2015, CURÁM 2 2021. At this Core Lab 2019. What I do want to point out, more importantly, are the red arrows at the bottom, is each of those initiatives would not have happened if there was no critical thought in who we are recruiting in. So if you look, I'm not going to name anyone here because in the interest of time, but at each of those arrows, there were key expertise that were brought in at a very high level. And this is something we need to think about when thinking about the strategy of where we are going in, is what is the next big thing that we need to bring in at a very critical mass so that we will have the next ABC, and how do we keep all of this sustainable? Not necessarily get bigger, but how do we keep it sustainable is a bigger question that we all need to reflect on. So CURÁM is a fairly complex center, and I would call it more of a distributed center across nationally. It is a national center with all plenty of players, plenty of stakeholders. We are hosted by University of Galway. 80% of CURAM's funding lies in Galway, and that's something that we need to note that. We are measured. We have lots of metrics that we go through, but I'm not going to go through it. But nationally, we are measured in terms of what policies do we develop, what is our international engagement, what is the human capacity, how do we calibrate health and well-being through CURAM, what is the economic impact of what we do. So all of these measures we have, we actually tabulate all of these. Our mission, just so that if some of you may not know what CURAM is, our mission is to be a global leader in the creation and translation of clinic-ready and patient-focused medical devices. So it's essentially, it has to be linked with the College of Medicine and Health Sciences. We are in the university, so development of the next generation of researchers is inherent to our DNA. And more importantly also is we become an anchor for industry applicabilities. And there are examples of all of these that we are doing it. But more importantly, our mission is a global mission. It's not a regional mission. It's a global mission to be the global leader of that space. And we are, by the way, a global leader. And when you go outside and do talk about CURAM, and everybody will know who we are. Our research program is based on 3 pillars. They're all clinical pillars. Each of the pillars have clinicians embedded in that space. So soft tissue, cardiovascular, metabolic, Faisal alluded to that space, and neural and musculoskeletal. Those are three very, very strong pillars. The way we come out pillar was not a trivial exercise. It was mainly about saying, which is the industry that we have, who do we have in terms of scientists and engineers, and do we have clinicians in that space? And if there aren't, can we fill them? Can we fill that space with clinicians? These are, all of these 3 pillars have cross-cutting areas such as entrepreneurship training. So Martin O'Halloran is pretty much involved in that space. Public engagement, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, and translational support is also embedded in that space. So CRF and others, we are actively engaged in that space as well. We are a global family. So to date, we have had 1,100 team members who have come in the last 8 years, and they are now doing great things in the world. They have come from 70 places, 60 continents. So we are truly a global family and a very, very diverse family. We have international collaborations, and this is not collaboration that we as individual PIs have, but these are collaborations of mass. So we are connected with 4 center-to-center awards, which have been funded by NSF. NSFI, Gary Duffy is leading one of them. We have a metallic biomaterials one, a CMAT cell manufacturing one, which Gary is running through, and CellMed, which Jer O'Connor is running through. We also have a lifetime CDT program, which is a Center for Doctoral Training program that we host in the area of organ-on-chip technology. So we are very, very, these are all critical masses that we are building in. So it's not only CURAM, but CURAM plus, this is CURAM Square we are talking about. So this is sort of the highlight impact that I can give you, and this is up to date. 1,100 team members I talked about. We have 79 academic leads, which are lecturers, professors, and so forth, all across Ireland. We have 13 clinicians leading clinical trials embedded in CURAM, and we have 10 partner institutes. So on a positive side, we have SFI gave us 68.4 million. We have matched that with non-exchequer funding. So this is just fresh. Just last month, we have raised 20 million just from EU funding alone. So if anyone comes and say, what is the value? Well, you know what? You've given us 68 million from the tax laws, from the tax euros. We have matched it completely with 70.4 from non-exchequer funding. So it's a very phenomenal story. On top of it, we've also brought in very significant of industry money, 27.5 million, thanks to the clinicians who have helped us achieve that goal itself. I won't go through the other metrics, but those are there for see. More importantly, for the College of Medicine to know, we have there's a significant amount of funding that goes to the College of Medicine. 26% of our platform funding goes to the college. 46% of industry co-funding is with the college, 82% of direct industry funding is in college, and 19% of our doctoral training program goes. So these are all the key investigators that are involved within CURÁM, and if you see those red boxes, they are in our executive management team. So it's there. So we have 5 people out of the 8 which are in this college, and so CURÁM is quite well embedded within the College of Medicine. We've developed strategic partnerships. These are examples of 5 projects, and I'm not going to talk about. These are led by clinicians, and you can see, well, at least in the College of Medicine, you've seen Francis, Bill, and William, and Tim are leading some of these projects itself, and they form the core pillar project itself. And each of these, a good example is William Vince's project, which has just secured, I'm not sure it's official yet, but that project has got leveraged EU funding up to 4 million euros in just last month. So we are excited about some of these projects which are going to see fruition by the day. I'm going to just give you 2 examples. You've heard plenty of examples today, Karen Doyle's example, and then you've heard some of the other examples. Faisal gave some examples as well. There's another example with Georgina Gettin from nursing is working through PPI. She has come up with a concept, and that concept, Fleming Medical is a company which makes wound dressings. She's working with Jer O'Connor in physics, creating a data, a wound dressing that communicates all the responses that are, the healing responses that come pH and so forth. So one can modulate the dressing change when it's required. So again, a very fascinating project which comes from, which has its roots in the College of Medicine. John Laffey is working with Dan O'Toole and others with Factor Biosciences. And again, you know, that project came with a very small investment, but now it's going, and it's also using our cell manufacturing facility to a great scale. It's about talking about mRNA technology, which we thought at one point was a dead horse, but thanks to the vaccine piece of it, it's now showing resurgence. Again, College of Medicine has a huge role to play in that mRNA piece going in the future while working in this. At a national level and to the EU level, we are writing policy documents. We wrote a very nice document on why large animal facilities is not a viable option in Ireland because of, and I'm not going to go into that, but we also were responsible for one of the policy documents through SFI, through the department, on investing in Ireland's future. It was a white paper that we published. We also came up with an agenda for medical device research in the EU, which we sent it to the MEPs, and our recent success in the EU is a result of some of these initiatives that we've taken. And now we have just launched the science advocacy piece, which the Irish government is incredibly interested in the work that we're doing in science advocacy. So a lot of activity going on, which is outward facing itself, and which also involves our researchers on the ground. As we speak, our public engagement program is world class, top notch. We get calls everywhere from globally saying, "What are you doing? Can we emulate this in their places?" So what we've done is we've decided to empower leaders in the community and give tools that we have, which is scientific tools, and they are empowered with our tools, and they do best, which is communicate to their respective audience. So whether it's teachers, we could develop lesson plans with teachers. It's teachers for teachers. The teachers develop the lesson plans for teachers itself. And again, our lesson plans are in the national curriculum, and it's a great example so far. We've had 250 teachers in residence to date. Our artists, we have mural program, which again I'm not going to talk about. Our films have been shown on RTE. They get science awards and so forth. And advocacy program is what we're doing now. So again, all of these programs are very top notch. They have indigenous roots. We have not emulated anyone. We have created our own indigenous way of communicating the message that we do. And the impact is clear. I'm not going to go through the numbers, and in fact, my numbers were lower than what I just said, which is quite clear. So it's fantastic work that has been done, public engagement, very much outward facing. Big news is that we are going to have a big floor on the City Museum very soon. It has been commissioned. So in the next year, we will see a MedTech exhibit right on the Galway City Museum, showing the richness of the MedTech culture that's present. It's going to be a people's story. It's not about scientists like me and Gary and Faisal, but it's more about people's story about medical device research in Ireland and how their life has been impacted. It'll be a great showpiece for anyone who comes to saying, look, this is a great story. So the timeline of MedTech evolution, the reason why I brought this slide up again is saying we are at 2021. CURÁM has funding till 2026. There will probably be a call for another center call for another, which will probably a more extended time. I suspect for 8 years. So what is a sustainability model? We go through this. We keep on funding from one to another. What is a sustainability model? So we have thought about this quite a bit, and I thought it was quite important for me to talk about it today. So if you look at what the future of MedTech is, there are three main areas in which I think are the most important ones that we really need to invest in. One is AI health tech convergence. Second is immunoengineering. Why do implants fail? What can we do to modulate the implant failure? How can we modulate the local host response or immune response to make better devices? And third is organ on chips, how can we create tissues, miniature tissues on chips so that we can screen them or we can understand mechanistic goals. So those are three areas which are the hottest, which I do think Galway has a very significant role to play. And why do I think so? One is we have Insight. We have Core Lab, Insight is top-notch in data. Core, as we've talked about, produce a lot of clinical data. There's a great, and Faisal talks about that. So again, we have a great convergence, and we can get the industry involved in that. So that's a great synergy there. Immunoengineering, we have remedy, cell and gene therapy. We've been established in that space for a long time. CURÁM has the technologies, some of the Gary's work which he does, and others also bringing in nice biomaterial systems and mechanobiology. We can bring that immunoengineering space very nicely to fruition. We have the expertise here. Organ on chip, we have a lifetime CDT program already. There are 25 PhDs already there. We are in those three spaces very nicely. Those are the key opportunities that which is in our DNA. We need to expand them a bit more. In terms of sustainability, I talked about KO. Every KO recruitment has produced fairly big impact for our space. So we need to look at KO recruitment as well from the CURÁM point of view. We have 4 positions that we are actively looking for in the area of neuro, immunoengineering, organ on chip, and regulatory. Again, all of this will be embedded into our sustainability plan. We are looking at SFI research professorship. 2 of them are in the works, one in the area of clinical trials translation and the other one in medical robotics. We also want to, not only do we want to get external people in, but we also want to work with our local FIs and empower the existing FIs to get to the next level. As far as funding, we are going to go for an 8-year cycle in 27 to 2035. And our success story speaks for itself, so we are very hopeful that we will be funded subsequently as well. We are also looking at private funding. It's not only SFI funding. We are looking at foundation, empowering the foundation to carry the CURÁM message, as well as strategic industry partnership to make us a much more sustainable entity. So it's not only about me, it's more about our next generation and the subsequent generation that we need to think about in maintaining this MedTech cluster that we all have grown. So with that, I'd like to thank you for listening to me, and I'm the last one to talk. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Abhay.